watching live, there are a few things I want to tell you guys. First of all, you guys are here because you're prepared. Obviously, you prepared well, and we thank you for coming. First of all, okay. Right now, I'm talking, and all of you are looking at me. How does that make me feel? You think right now, if I'm looking and I see eyes at me, it makes me feel good, actually. Okay. I want everyone to do the opposite now. I'm going to keep on talking. Everyone look at their phones or look down. Everyone do that right now. That makes me feel very disconnected. Okay? It makes me feel like I'm speaking to what? To the air, right? That I'm not speaking to anyone, that I'm not connecting with anyone. So I'm going to ask you, if you look at your notes and if you look at your stuff, that's fine, but try to do it in the middle between talks. Relax for a moment. Don't think about anything else, but listen to Lisani as she's speaking. Listen to Carla as she's speaking. Listen to her message. Try to connect with her. She's trying to connect with you. Now you in the audience try to connect with the speaker, with Jesus, with Marjani, okay? That's something else too. What we're going to do is when the person comes up, we're going to give them a big round of applause. Guess what? We're not a lot of people, so let's try that. Give a big round of applause to Jesus Valdez. Okay, good. That's what we want to hear. Okay, we're going to do that for everybody, all right? And when they're finished, thank you very much, Jesus Valdez. That was a great job. Yeah. Okay, very good. Something like that, okay? We'll give everybody a round of applause. You guys will do good. We appreciate you guys for being here, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll start the transmission now, I guess, all right? Good. All right, good morning, everyone. This is our second day of our TED Talk series, Lumuri TED Ed students. And we have with us students from 10th grade, from Cuarto de Secundaria. We have students from intermediate levels that have come here, and they're going to share with us under the theme, Life Under Lockdown. This has been now over 11 months that you guys have been pretty much locked down. And what are your personal perspectives of this event? What are your perspectives of how this experience has transformed your lives in some ways? Now, today we're going to hear from 10th grade students. They're going to let us know how it feels for them and how the experience has been under this lockdown period. So for right now, we're going to start with students from the group that I teach. And we have with us, to start with, our student is Jesus Valdez. We'll give a round of applause for Jesus Valdez. Jesus Valdez, are you ready? You're going to come up for us? And he's going to tell us his life under lockdown and the changes it's given him.
Hello, I'm Jesus Valdez, and this is my speech of how I spend my time on quarantine. Quarantine is a tough time. It's a tough time because it has impact. No, it's a tough time because you can't go outside or go see your friends or go even to school. For me, it was a very weird time because of the new online classes and being home. Quarantine is something that has impacted me a lot over time because I thought, hey, it's only 40 days, nothing is gonna change, right? But I was wrong and everything changed. I remember back then, the first weeks of quarantine, I didn't even go out to my house, and all the things I did back then was like eat, play, and sleep. I remember also the first weeks, I wasn't hyped about going outside or do anything, but I keep doing my exercises at home. I also got a story. I remember I got the idea of practicing in my house, but I ended up breaking some stuff, and my mom was mad to me. But everything isn't bad because I also learned how to do basic things like reading, and cleaning my house. Uh, not even though, not even though quarantine is stronger, I am stronger too. I am studying and practicing, giving my 100% every day to approach, no, to get better every day. And from where there is no more coronavirus and quarantine is over, I have taken the advantage of all the time we spend in quarantine and be someone better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jesus, of how you spend your time during quarantine. You've given us a lot of insights. It was a very positive talk. We feel very encouraged because of that. Great job. Now we're going to hear from a fellow student in our B1 Plus level class. We're going to hear from Miss Carla Gonzalez. And listen to this nice title she has, My 11th Month-Long Roller Coaster of Emotions. With us now, give a round of applause for Carla Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about my life in lockdown. Since the beginning of the pandemic, I have been able to connect ties with my family. But I haven't had much time to practice because the school put a lot of homework I didn't have time to practice. Okay. And the reason I have been able to connect ties with my family has been one of the most hardest times I've ever had in my entire life. The reason, being locked in the house without having the slightest freedom to get out and socialize with the people I love, it has broken the little humanity that I have inside me. The sense of comfort that increased every time I was surrounded by the people who made me feel full of love and happiness has disappeared. During confinement, children and adolescents show emotional and behavioral alteration. There is a study that says that children who were in quarantine during illnesses pandemic were more likely to develop acute stress disorder, adjustment disorder, and mourning. The 30% of the children that were isolated or in quarantine met the clinical criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder. And just like that, I spent a really long time in lockdown, laughing about anything stupid, had episode stress, and sometimes cried so hard I didn't want to get out of bed. It was quite a haircut of emotion. It had me so messed up, I feel unusually lonely. I just want to get out of bed. Honestly, quarantine has been one of the most hardest times I've ever had in my entire life. I was on the verge of falling down a very deep cliff and there was no turning back. But thanks to the support, affection, love, and care my family and friends gave me every day, I was able to get ahead and always look at the positive side of every downfall. Also, in quarantine, I couldn't celebrate my 50th and wine, a party with my friends and family, but it couldn't be due to COVID. I feel really sad that I lost a year I won't be able to recover. But that didn't stop me, and luckily I have a party with a few friends respecting the rule of distance. On the other hand, something that helped me a lot in the process was that I found a new hobby, dancing, which is what I'm passionate about. I have finally enrolled in online classes, but I haven't had much time to practice because the school put a lot of homework and limited my free time to practice. But now I'm dancing more and learning at the same time. Although it sounds difficult, but it isn't if you are excited about what you do. In conclusion, the lockdown has been different from each of us. It may have been the best moment of your life, or rather the worst, but each event has a purpose that can show you to new horizons and open the doors to new beginnings. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be conquered. Thank you so much.
Great job, Carla. Thank you so much for this positive outlook on your 11th month-long roller coaster of emotions. Thank you so much, Carla. Now with us from the same group, from our B1 Plus group, we have Laura Pena. This is her nice title, My Journey of Self-Discovery During Lockdown. Let's give a round of applause for Miss Laura Pena.
Hi everyone. Have you ever had a bad year? Well, 2020 was a bad year for most people, but for me, it was a year that made me question about a lot of things. Who am I as a person? How I was doing at school and who I was going to become. The lockdown has affected me mentally and emotionally because when this quarantine started, I started to realize that I didn't talk with my friends and family as much as I wanted to, and that I cannot go out to some places that I used to go, like the cinema or beach. And the school puts a lot of homework that stressed me a lot, affect my mental health, and I can't sleep well. So because of that, I've been feeling tired and lonely. But not everything was bad. I did many activities that I wasn't doing, like riding a bike, learning a language, reading a book, and spending it watching videos to entertain myself when I was bored. And this year I talk a lot with my family and friends, so I feel more happy and grateful because I feel that I sometimes not connected with them. In conclusion, 2020 was a rough year for most people because many lost jobs or family members. I really hope that this quarantine ends soon so that we can go out worrying about a virus and hug our loved ones. I wish the best for everyone in 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura, for your excellent talk and your course of self-discovery that you've had during lockdown. Now, also from group B1 Plus, we have this very interesting title, The 180-Degree Turn That Changed My Life. Please explain. Grace Marie Ravedoni. Let's give a round of applause for Grace.
When the lockdown started, we thought that this would be only a few weeks, but those weeks became months and almost a year. This was the blink of an eye. One day everything was radiant, while the next day it seemed the end of the world. The lockdown affected me in so many ways, but the main one is the physiological. Being lonely in my bedroom, I looked at the mirror and I felt lost. I'm still the same cheerful person as always, but something in me has changed. It was a feeling of not knowing what I was doing, as if I had no direction. I felt inexplicable loneliness and hopelessness, but a song helped me to understand that despite so much darkness, there will always be a ray of light that illuminates your day. On the other hand, with my mom, we sometimes look like cats and dogs. The problem is that seeing and doing things with the same person every single day makes everyone desperate. I was so tired of being in my house every day that going to the supermarket was really exciting, and I have to confess that I hate going there. Nevertheless, the best thing about quarantine is that I ate so many desserts. Now, in terms of school, this was quite a challenge for me. Concentration plays a fundamental role in this part of my story. It's too hard to take virtual classes and have all the WhatsApp messages arriving, plus the people around me who speak while the teacher talks. The worst thing is that since this school year has started, I have not felt motivated, but I still doing all my homework because I have some grades to take care of. To conclude, we all thought that 2020 was going to be a wonderful year, with many opportunities and infinite number of plans. On the contrary, it was a year of tragedies, full of uncertainty, fear, and especially in this year we discovered that we are as vulnerable as our environment. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much, Grace, for your expressions. Really appreciate that. And now to conclude with our group in B1 Plus, we have a very interesting talk title here, The Journey of the Lockdown. And with us we have Marjanit Figueroa. Let's give a round of applause for Marjanit.
In 2020, I had the idea it was going to be the best year. At the beginning of April, we all started using masks thanks to the virus. We didn't know how far it would go, and for me, the first month was la vacation. But I didn't know that we are going to be 10 months locked up. Who will say that we already have almost a year? This lockdown has affected me in so many different ways, but the main one is psychological. Since not being able to see my friends and my family has lowered my self-esteem. I have felt more stress at school because they leave class and they're not realizing that it's affecting us psychological. In certain part, my eyes have been glued to a screen for 6 hours. And when we finish class, we also had to do homework. And that also affected me because I have no time to do activities as before. Like I used to talk to my friends, family, and do exercise, etc. Well, I thought 2020 will be the best year. I already have my expectation. But what we can do now is see the positive side of the situation and find a way to improve it. The year has passed and we are in a new one. What we can do now is follow the regulations to stay safe. The year 2020 passed very quickly, but at the same time, so slow. I had many obstacles, but it felt like a millennium. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? I'm so sorry for that. Now I am in charge, I'm Teacher Daily, of course, of introducing the B2 group. We're gonna start with our first human, Emilia Hernandez. She's gonna talk to us. Her TED title is Not As We Planned. Are you ready, Emilia? I think she's not. Give her a round of applause, you guys.
Okay, good morning. Okay, one of the things that all of us here we have in common is that we are tired of the pandemic. If I'm right, is that true? Of course I'm true. Going to the supermarket is like going to Magic Kingdom. Very big lines that could come into the ex-president house to greet us and have a cup of coffee. As if the coronavirus will arrive and take all the food in the world. Or if the COVID arrives at your house and the toilet paper says, not COVID, not today. Plus antibodies. If that were really the case, I think it would make more sense. But you know what? It's normal. It's normal for the healthcare system to break down. It's normal for them to take away all their toilet paper because they feel panic. And it's also normal to start the year without a husband. But not everything we have experienced this year is negative. And obviously, there are better solutions to combat all these feelings. I can even remember the last goodbye to my classmates. We were all excited because a long day of school, we were finally going to have 2 weeks of vacation. But who knew it will turn into almost a year. And I also remember the last goodbye to my classmates. And being so excited because everything was going to be virtual. Something I have never experienced before. Until every day school consumed me more and more and more. To the point where my schedule was unexpectedly reversed. There you will see me at 4 a.m. working out. Or if you enter into my room at 3 p.m., you might find me between the blankets. The truth from experience, a virtual life is not easy to live, but it has brought me many experiences. I have learned to live with the best person I have ever met in my life. Me. I have used this time of loneliness to reflect on me and to learn to know myself. If any of you knew me before the pandemic, sorry, let me introduce myself again. Good morning, my name is Emilia Hernandez, and I'm telling you how my life in the quarantine has taken a 180-degree turn. Going to the positive side of the speech, I have been able to learn to manage most of my feelings. After so many times, my dad had to sit down and talk to me to calm me down. And my family and friends, they're the best compliment to my life. In conclusion, we have gone through so many emotions, feelings, experiences that have formed us as a person. And we have to admit that it was not as we planned it. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. That was amazing. Now we go for the second guy in the B group, in the B2 group actually. Paul Martinez with the title Tired. Congrats.
Now, I'm tired of the quarantine. I'm tired of doing a job over and over on the same topic. It's okay to reflect about things, but there's a time that we have to stop thinking about something and
There's a time when you have to stop thinking about things. Instead of forcing myself to sit down and write and remembering this story over and over again. Many had a good time, others very bad. It was a period of great growth. I do not appreciate that it happened, but I appreciate the learning and the moral that it left us, and we do not know how long it will be. Personally, this pandemic was a stage of growth. It has made me change many things of my life, to value a little more, to realize that we are supposed to. At any moment, we can drop everything, so we have to act with brain. Taking advantage whenever you can to get caught of your comfort zone. You can always find something new that you like, and further you shape your future. If you want to do something that you know it's right, do it. Better to regret failing trying to regret not trying. Think about when you are old. Imagine yourself at that stage. Remember all the opportunities that you had and did not take. Opportunities that came into your life and reject for no making the effort. Create good habits, interact with better people, be happy, and don't worry about anything.
Thank you, Paul. Now we go for the third person in the B3 group, Maya Roy, with the title, I'm Not Living the Way I Should.
Hola. Okay. I'm not living the way I should. How me as a teenager feel affected by the grown-ups' opinion on how they are only thinking about themselves, their lives, their thoughts, and not about us, the teenagers that have a lot in mind and have a lot to say. I'm living under the rules of one Latin mother and a fortnight father that have the expectations of me, a 15-year-old, to be happy, enjoy life, and have good grades. It's not that easy. Why me, a girl who was supposed to spend the greatest teenage years, didn't know her years were going to end so fast due to pandemic situations? I mean, I was supposed to live my life very happy. I was 14 years old when I started planning my 15-year-old grade party. The only thing I was thinking about was from all of the people I was going to invite, all of the pictures I was going to take, all of the memories I was going to have from that day. And it was all a fantasy that I ended up creating myself. I thought that the worst that could come was me crying into my mother's arms while she was telling me that everything was going to be okay. That was a lie. Because the more as she told me that everything was going to be okay, the more the days left me behind. And I started quarantine, having 14 years old, and in a couple of months I'm being 16. Amazing, huh? I hate being locked up. I hate having to wake up at 9 a.m. on weekends. So I come to my house back at 12, and my desire to be happy ends sooner. I'm respecting curfew because I want to take care of my family. I love how they're healthy and happy in my house. And that's the only thing that is keeping me from respecting it, honestly. Because the only thing that makes me happy in this moment is knowing that my family is healthy and happy. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, good morning, guys. Thank you so much, Miss Maya, for that performance. Now from the B2 plus level, I have two amazing students. I have Miss Lisani Almanzar, and her TED Talk title is The Darkness of 2020. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, so we all remember that series, a series of unfortunate events about the Baudelaire siblings who were orphaned and went on crazy adventures to get away from their guardian, Count Olaf. This is exactly what 2020 felt like. the world civilization being the Baudelaires, and the pandemic being Count Olaf. No one from my generation, or anybody alive at this point, ever expected to have to live through a pandemic. We would take advantage of the plans we would make and the lives we would live, and we didn't realize how much could change in as little as a second. I know it couldn't only be me, but doesn't the beginning of it all feel like a fever dream? Me and my friends and my family would hear about how China was shutting down and how the virus was growing at lightning speed. And we sat in our places and had the audacity to laugh. I see it all the time on social media, and people say that they miss it, and how those months between March and May feel so nostalgic. But they look at the mini trends, the whipped coffee, songs that were trending at the time. I can say that I'm guilty of acknowledging that it feels nostalgic, but I can never bring myself to say that I miss it. I do indeed remember clearly a conversation that I had with one of my friends before everything got so serious. We had been dispatched from the school on our extended spring break, and around this time, everybody was laughing at the idea of taking classes online. Y'all remember that? Yeah, we should have kept our mouths shut. I remember us sending each other voice notes, cracking up, gasping for air, and little did we know that those 2 weeks would turn into 42 at the blink of an eye, and that we would be begging for all of this to go away. Sometimes, I hope to wake up from this. This right now, I'm hoping it's a dream. I desire for this whole thing to be some sick mind game, some inception. At one point, maybe in April or in May, I couldn't handle the routine I had fallen into. My mind was in the darkest of places, and I could feel myself slowly going insane. I sat on the kitchen floor one night thinking, is this how mental people went mental? Did they get sick of living on a loop? Were they tired of no one ever changing their vinyl record? There was no joy in anything. Not in any food I would eat or any show I would watch. Nothing was comforting, and everything had seemed to haunt me. It was like my tape was stuck, repeating the same parts over and over. But to pull some good from all of it, I learned what a friend was. I learned what kind of friends I need in this life, the ones I'll appreciate for always, and the ones who shouldn't have been my friends in the first place. The friends that I want to make memories with for years to come. I know that I would have never learned to appreciate and love them the way that I do if this pandemic had never happened. The quarantine really opened my eyes on how much you can value without being aware. Hold your family close, the chosen family, and be careful with who you choose. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Ms. Lasani. Coming up next, we have Ms. Sara Castillo, and her TED Talk title is What Happened to Friday. Please give her a round of applause.
Hello. Okay, back. Hi. I have a question. What happened to Friday? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do you know what comes next? Yeah. At 15 years old, I thought I did too. It sure isn't. Endless stress, daily waves of mood swings, and being locked up, right? Well, big surprise when you turn around and in every corner you could see the cases of COVID increasing, and about how nobody could leave their house. We were stuck in a maze. I could not believe my eyes. And by having so much time on my hands at first, that was fine. But soon I made a not so pleasant discovery. Being locked up physically can be identical to being emotionally too. And see, I consider myself a pretty happy person. The little things make me happy. And in my mind, I don't have hatred for anyone, let alone my heart. Well, I lied, there's an exception. People who put milk before their cereal. But don't tell them. Anyways, I'm also young. But our parents didn't spend their teenage years living inside a repetitive, never-ending cycle like we are now. Wake up, take class, back to bed, repeat. To make it a bearable subject, one can say it resembles to playing your favorite song over and over again. You may not realize you have until you get really tired of it. And you just stop, because you can't stand it anymore. And when you do, there is silence. And let me tell you that silence wears a mask. Ironic, huh? We have to wear masks because of Corona, and silence wears a mask. Okay, bad joke. Silence is in fact loud. it speaks. Which is why I often ask myself, Sarah, are you happy or are you just distracted? Because in those little silent moments, us humans are left with nothing but ourselves, our thoughts and feelings, and we're forced to face them. The past year, I learned and changed a lot for the better. And in all seriousness, being inside my house all day, seeing the same people everywhere, hit me hard. Soon a time came where I was at my lowest. Energy and motivation, I had neither, and silence ruled me. But I looked around and started finding the silver linings. Turned those periods of time into something positive and began taking care of myself. Because I realized that I was being consumed by the circumstances and had to put an end to it. I started a diet, did things I love, such as watching a lot of movies, got closer to my family, and the list goes on. I too realized that being alone isn't bad, and that your mind is powerful, and when left by itself, can become your enemy, so don't let it. Because you are not your thoughts. And turn all that power around into something good for you. Easier said than done for sure. I hope you figured out by now that by Friday, I wasn't referring to the day. I was summing up the feeling of stability and being so calm, free, calm, and comfortable that you can't help but laugh into one word. And making this a loop, I ask once again, what happened on Friday? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sara. Excellent talk. We thank you so much to all of you also that gave your talks today. We heard about roller coaster rides. Someone told us they were tired. We heard stories about how families have been drawn together, how people have had to deal with the illusion of being a 15-year-old or the disillusion of being a 15-year-old, quinceañera parties that never happened, birthday parties that never happened. I think we've all been moved by this, and I want to give you guys a brief 1-minute talk that is about self-reflection, and it's called Scars. I want you to look at yourself and see if you can find a scar on your body. Maybe there's a scar on your arm. Maybe there's a scar on your face. I have one here above my eye. Most of us, when we remember scars on our body, wherever they are, they have stories. And later on, those stories, ironically, we always laugh about later. Remember when that happened and you got that scar? Oh yeah, I fell down, there was blood everywhere. Yeah, I thought my eye was gonna come out, you remember that? And then we laugh about it. Odd, right? At the moment we weren't laughing, not at all. We're in deep pain maybe when those scars became scars. But time passed, time passes, the change of the color of our skin changes, and sometimes we even forget they're there until we notice them. The reason why I'm mentioning is this, because all of us right now are through what type of process? A scarring process. The scar isn't on our bodies, per se, but the scar is inside. There will be a time that you as 14, 15, 16-year-olds will look back at this scar and maybe even laugh about it. You look back at this scar and say, wow, this made me a better person. For example, I got this scar playing baseball. I was walking, someone was practicing their swing, and I walked right behind him, and when the bat came around, it hit me right in the face. That was the last time I did that. Anytime anyone on a baseball field was practicing their swing, I was away from them, okay? So we learn from the scars that we have as well, at least we should. So we hope that all of you with these past 2 days can look at this again in the future. We want to thank you for opening up to us, because this particular talk series was not just you talking about history or people that motivated you. It's talking about you and your experiences, your suffering, your tears. And we want to thank you all for what you've done in sharing all of that with us. So thank you for those of us that are watching or that are watching this video right now. Later on, because really these are great stories. We hope you all enjoy them. We want to thank everyone, the teachers, for preparing your students. We want to thank for 10th grade teachers such as Joseph Steins, Emily Perez, Dede de la Rosa. We want to thank also the people that have been able to make this happen on the technical side, Mr. Samuel and his crew with the video, Kisi and Esther that have helped us with all the logistics, Omar, our DJ, that's been helping us with sound, the administration that have supported this as well, the engineer, Luisana, our principal, Dr. Sosa and Davey Hernandez as well. We want to thank all of you that have supported to make this happen. So once again, thank you for this 2 days. We have 2 more coming, and please tune in both Thursday and Friday for a new different theme. We're going to go away from focusing on lockdown. For Thursday and Friday, the theme will be Change is Coming. Will you be a part of it? So we'll hear from our 11th and 12th graders on Thursday and Friday. Please stay tuned, and thank you once again.